Blessings and peace, blessings and peace. Welcome to the Ice Turner experience. Something that you can't define, something that you can't explain, you can only experience. As of lately, I've been doing a little bit of research. A little bit of research of really examining the thoughts and feelings of men and women and their plight and relationships. See, the thing is, a lot of people don't realize is that relationships reveal bondage. Relationships reveal the suppressed shadow side of yourself. The issues that haven't been addressed. The trauma that hasn't fully healed. Pain that hasn't been transformed into strength. Problem is, a lot of people don't really look in the mirror and deal with their ghost. And they clothe what is wrong with them on the opposite sex. What I've noticed is rage, confusion, and chaos between man and woman. The reason why there's failed relationships, the reason why there's children out of wedlock, the reason why there's divorce. Because people neglect the principle. The first relationship that should be nurtured and developed and understood is your relationship with the Most High. He said in Scripture, if my people are called by my name, shall first humble themselves and seek my face, then I will heal their land. And what is a land symbolic to? Symbolic to the mind, the body, right? See, a lot of us aren't healed in our subconscious because we are not humble enough to know that we are hurting. One of the best examples I've seen was with Mary Magdalene chasing after Yeshua to get healed from the issues of her blood. She said, only if I can touch his garment, I will get healed. Now, what was she doing? She was seeking God. She humbled herself to basically get healed. She knew that there was something wrong with her. And she was aware enough within herself to know that there is the source that can solve what is wrong with her. Now, if we do that, it's just like, seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Oh, it speaks to that. Delight yourself in the Lord, right? And He'll give you the desires of your heart, give you the desires of your conscience to be healed. See, the thing is, we are here to basically overcome that negative, or overcome that negatives, because in all actuality, we live in, a sad reality. We go from one sad reality after another, and masquerading it and camouflaging it with fig leaves. Camouflaging and masquerading and castrating the tender parts of us, right? The shameful aspects of ourselves with a facade, with sizzle, instead of basically getting healed to have substance. How can we win in relationships if we're both playing defense? How can we score if we're both playing defense? We've essentially become an arrested development when we don't look in the mirror and deal with ourselves and deal with the pain in our childhood. The second part, after you've established a relationship, and you've healed, is the relationship with yourself. A lot of us won't admit that there is a percentage of a love-hate thing with ourselves. So God loves you, the devil hates you, and we have a love-hate relationship with ourselves. And the love-hate relationship that we have with ourselves derives from suppressing that shadow aspect of ourselves, the pain, the negativity, the unresolved issues. See, the things that we don't address usually becomes the things later on that we regret, and the things that cause us to regress in our masculine essence as well as feminine essence. And if you look at how the universe works, and look at our planet, for example, how it's polluted with poison and toxin. If you look at our food, our source of nourishment is laden with poison. You got chemtrails falling from the sky. And what is the chemtrails and the sky symbolic to? Well, the sky is symbolic to our conscious. The chemtrails is the poison, right? The evils of our imagination that haven't been brought into subjection. As above, so is below. As within, so is without. Everything in our inner world and outer world exists within the polarity of love, because love is balanced by fear, just like light is balanced by darkness. It's like fire and water, male and female. It all brings balance, because 95% of our thoughts and memories are housed in our subconscious. Our shadow selves is the powerful aspect of our divine, because it's designed to encourage and motivate our divine selves to be expressed through that negative, or our subconscious duality, meaning that our lives are spent either overcoming those thoughts, feelings, and memories, or our suppression of those thoughts, feelings, and memories. See, this would either strengthens our union in relationships, or it deteriorates our union. Because underneath all of this lies that sneaky beast, that ghost. And we can only harness our positive attributes when we allow for that polarized negative to force us to look into that mirror and deal with the shadow aspects, the unresolved issues, the unrecognized trauma. We have to face our fears. And by suppressing our shadow side, our infirmities, we are reducing ourselves, as men into boys, thinking as a child, acting as a child, behaving as a child, and which is causing females to act out in a masculine imitation, which is abrasive, because whenever a woman is triggered by her insecurities, she becomes entitled. And when she becomes entitled, she becomes narcissistic. And when she becomes narcissistic, she becomes angry. So these are the cries that you hear online through the complaints. Usually when someone complains, this is where they feel powerless. This is where they feel hurt. This is where they feel confused. Because we really haven't addressed the main thing. We haven't dealt with our own self-hatred, which is a form of godliness, which has no power. We have this masculine frame, or we have this feminine frame, but we're rejecting the power of regeneration, the power of healing, because we won't face our fears. We suppress them. We masquerade them. We deflect them. And we express it in a way that's so divisive and poisonous that we never come to a solution. We have to be honest with ourselves, because we all have veered out of balance. And all of us have been suffering, both men and women. That's the reason why we feel disconnected. We feel disconnected from each other because we are disconnected from our divine selves. there's still a great deal of our subconscious ourselves remaining in a collective that needs to be revealed, allowed, and healed in the mirror before we decide to take up that level of responsibility in coming together in wholeness. Now, this is just my personal assessment or reflection that I believe that we must craft a new divine structure that works for us and not against us, especially in the areas of relationships, business, spirit, soul, and purpose, by establishing new wealth codes. Because as the soul prospers, so do you. See, healing produces maturity. Because as you mature in your mentality, you mature in your mentality. And as you mature in your mentality, you mature in your femininity. See, a man that is comfortable in his own skin, or comfortable in his position, and comfortable in his masculinity, is a man that has healed and has overcame those obstacles. A woman that has expressed her feminine nature and is comfortable in her femininity and is comfortable in her position is someone that has overcame that shadow aspect. A man in his truest self is a waymaker. He is a man that provides guidance. He's a man that's not giving you gimmicks, playing games. He's providing a way of life. He's uplifting. He's nurturing. He's healing. He's a man that builds and adds on. See, a man finds himself in his purpose, in his work, in his lot, just like a woman finds herself in her servitude, in the relationship with that man. She finds enduring happiness, peace, tranquility. And what I mean by the work, and what I mean by the purpose, man is directly related to his relationship. Because you find your assignment in your relationship. A man finds his assignment in a relationship with God, just like a woman finds her purpose, assignment in a relationship with that man. The reason why there's this new expression of the new masculinity, which really a new masculinity is a genderless expression of that, an androgynous attitude. The reason why women are out of place is because the man is out of place. See, if you are doing everything that you're supposed to do as a man, there is no room to complain about a woman that is designed to assist you, because it is not your responsibility. What your responsibility is, your first thing, your principle, your main thing, which you are supposed to be doing. A woman will fall in line once you're in line, once you're centered with yourself. So we're all acting out of our fears and confusions. Instead of actually addressing what's in that mirror. And as I said before, relationships reveal bondage. It reveals what you haven't dealt with. It reveals that you are still in arrested development. You can only be deceived if you're after something. And majority of us are seeking lower end communication. Because if you look at the loins, our lower parts of us, our sexual organs, is really just a lower form of communication. And this is what we're seeking after, a lower form of communication, lower frequencies, and then we're confused by our problems in our relationships. We've become the modern day Ahab and Jezebel. It's definitely something to think about, right? Because we're looking for a mother in a relationship instead of looking for a wife in the relationship. She's looking for a father in a relationship instead of looking for a king, a man in a relationship. Because inside the home, you might have had a mother, but there was no motherhood inside the mother. Or the mother wasn't there, just like the father. Either the father wasn't in the home, or if he was in the home but lacked the fatherhood inside the father. Didn't, impress the patriarch, the inner man, to show you an example. Which is okay. It happens. The thing is, How do you deal with that? Are you dealing with that ghost? Or are you trying to masquerade that ghost or that noise with even louder noise and even more distraction? Most people are scared to get away from that noise. On the outside, deal with that noise on the inside. Adjust the volume. How do you expect someone to love you as yourself when you are running from yourself, when you are hiding from yourself, when you're hiding from your pain, when you're hiding from your trauma? Instead of transferring your yoke that's on your neck, it's on your conscience. So your neck is something that directs everything. It moves around. If you look at the head, see, he says, give me your yoke. I'll give you my yoke. It's much lighter. Now, are we doing that? The only way to basically overcome these things is to basically seek the one that designed you. Seek the one that knows the hair count on your head. That is the only way. That's why I really don't get into the talking points, because to me it's a weak expression, it's a weak conversation, because it's lies what people are talking about. A lot of these people online, they want to have healthy relationships. Who doesn't want happiness? Who doesn't want affirmation? Who doesn't want to feel like they're in their purpose? Who doesn't want to do things that are in a form of order, structure, beauty, wisdom, and honor? Who doesn't want that? Deception is real. And there's nothing more grievous to experience is the deception that you are giving to yourself. we're looking for a mother in a relationship instead of looking when you're hiding from your pain, when you're hiding from your trauma. Instead of transferring your yoke that's on your neck, it's on your conscience. So your neck is something that directs everything. It moves around. If you look at the head, see, he says, give me your yoke. I'll give you my yoke. It's much lighter. Now, are we doing that? The only way to basically overcome these things is to basically seek the one that designed you. Seek the one that knows the hair count on your head. That is the only way. That's why I really don't get into the talking points, because to me it's weak. It's a weak expression. It's a weak conversation because it's lies. What people are talking about. A lot of these people online, they want to have healthy relationships. Who doesn't want happiness? Who doesn't want affirmation? Who doesn't want to feel like they're in their purpose? Who doesn't want to do things that are in a form of order, structure, beauty, wisdom, and honor? Who doesn't want that? Deception is real. And there's nothing more grievous to experience is the deception that you are giving to yourself. In order to conquer new oceans, you have to lose the sight of the sea. And how do you lose sight of the sea? It's to heal. And to be honest with who you are, where you're at, where you're hurt, why you're hurt. Accountability, responsibility, and confidence in confronting conflict or unresolved issues is really going to determine your health, the lack thereof, right? And your state of consciousness, and the state of your being. Getting to the other side, as Yahshua would say, cast the net onto the right side, right? We're always talking about the right side, the right hemisphere, the rib. We begin to see the right woman in our life when we become the right man. Vice versa. We can't overcome our trauma and our pain through lies and deception, through neglecting our relationship with the one that created us. Through drugs and illicit sex. Blessings and peace. Blessings and peace. All right, y'all. I'm back. That's a little piece I did a couple years ago. It's just it's amazing how timeless that message is. Um, just how imperative it is just for the times that we're in right now. Um, with all the mindless finger pointing. It's him did it, her did it. It's ridiculous. You know, the hardest part or the hardest work to actually do is to really look in that mirror. And to really deal with what's conflicting about you. I would say that the healthier you are mentally and emotionally, the healthier your choices are, and you know, and who you know select and accompany in your space. You know, there wouldn't be no problem if you deal with the first problem. You know, I believe that's just what it comes down to. But it was just a video. I forgot how long ago I did that. And I was just kind of just in a moment. I heard a beat and I was just talking, just like, as I am now, and it was just coming to me. On the perils of what's wrong. You know, I believe it's an immature thing to sit here and point the finger. Oh, and say, "Oh, it's the woman, the woman, the woman, the woman did this." Just like what you hear with the women, oh, the guy. Like, no, well, you know what? If you look at even a garden, you know, what she do? She had someone invade her space by choice, right? You know, if you trace back to a woman's underlying problem or a core pain, is based on allowing the wrong person in their space. You know, that's why I say the most important thing to do is to listen. Not just talk, not just wait for your time to talk, but actually just listen. Especially when you ask a question, it's important to listen, and not only listen, but listen intently. You know, listen intently to what is being said and what is not being said. You know, especially when women communicate, because it's not going to be in its entirety. It's going to be in partiality. You kind of have to extract the truth. You know, that's just part of it. You know, another major part of it is it's just self-awareness. Just being aware of just who you are before entering in. Be aware of who you are and why you're doing this. See, what people fail to realize is that they enter into relationships for selfish reasons. They either do things or don't do things in that relationship for selfish reasons, just like they leave for selfish reasons. And I believe me and Millie had a discussion about that in one of the the live streams we did. It might have been the last one. We were talking about as far as like how people kind of connect and people have a way of bonding and connecting through their actual darkness. Not saying they have the same darkness, but because you don't want to have the same type of darkness or have the same dark issues, because then you're just pulling each other down and you're not really getting to the light. But just having, you know, similar darkness, or complementary level of darkness, like say for example, maybe this is a horrible one, but I'm gonna use it anyway, like Whitney and Bobby. uh Whitney had a cocaine addiction. Bobby had an alcoholic addiction, you know but they had something really messed up. The words, though, they were trying to, I guess, pull each other up from it. But a lot of relationships are formed from darkness, just to simplify it. But you can't, forget to um self-correct. The problem isn't the relationship that you're in. The problem in the relationship is you and what you're doing in it. It's not your responsibility. What they do is not your responsibility. One thing that I learned, I believe in my relationships, is I mature when I was in situations. Okay, how they react is not my responsibility, because it's about what I exhibit and exude. If I'm you know showing that I am a man of my word, and I am who I say I am, and I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And if I lay out the boundaries and the particular consequences that's set in place, it's up to you. I'm not going to be your kindergarten instructor. you know See, a mature thinking man is going to basically handle the situation kind of like, more so like a college professor. Okay, well, you know what you're supposed to be doing. The paper when it's due. You don't do that, guess what happens? You fail. And guess what happens when you fail? You're no longer in this class. You're no longer in this school of thought, in this university. It's pretty simple. You see what y'all saying in the chat. It says, many wants to be pull me down. I just overstand them and compare their lives to mine, and they're just not happy. Yeah, a lot of people really aren't happy. When you really think about it, because if you ask them if they're happy, they'll say yeah, but what makes you happy? You know, what defines your happiness? You're not going to have an answer. You know, you ask them that, what defines your happiness? How did you develop your happiness? Happiness is based on what's happening now. A lot of people put a negative connotation behind that, but no, you'll always be living in the right now. When you wake up the next day, it's right now. I think it's important to live in the right now, and not in yesterday, and not in the future. You live in the future, you'll have anxiety. Live in the past, you'll basically have just trauma. You'll have pain, you'll have frustration, you'll have depression. It's imperative for you to live in the right now. You know, it even says that in the scripture. He says, deal with what's in front of you right now, because the evil of that is sufficient enough. You know, what's in front of you is sufficient enough for you to deal with, but you have to deal with it head on, face to face. See, the better you are at dealing with your issues, or the things that are issuing around you, um, you know, face up you and correcting it, or handling it, because it's also teaching you time frame um, management, as well as compartmentalization. Is this something that I can solve right now, or I can wait 5 minutes, later to solve that, and that right now, you know, or 20 minutes later, and half an hour later, And as I said, it's one piece that I said in that in that drop. I said, a lot of people are spending their lives overcoming negatives, right? Overcoming negative feelings, overcoming a negative reality. You know, that's why they spend their lives chasing at their new feeling. If you look at what the prophet did, and I think it was in the book of Kings when he went out to get herbs, medicine, something of healing, and they came back with wild gourds. It was death in the pot. What are those wild gourds symbolic to? You know, confusion, pain, and trauma. That's what happens when we rush out and make decisions out of haste and out of um, the thrill or the idea, the thrill of a new emotion or a new reality from that emotion. That's what people go out and buy things. They don't buy things to hide themselves. They buy things to escape something. Something to think about. Facts. Honey said facts. Ice. Right now, not yesteryears. Exactly. Not live in the past. Polo said, "Ice, your habits of game. Drop was fire. Respect, brother. Respect." And that was just like, as you basically know, how I do on here. So it's just like, as of right now, I put out some material. Put out a significant amount today. Um, Maybe tomorrow I'll probably put out one thing. Or I might not put out anything. 3 days later, I might put out 5 drops on a live. It's just a matter of just just putting out the work, and just you know, so we can actually have a better conversation. And I just want better product out here. So I definitely look forward to, what's going to be placed, out here next. Yeah, but just getting into relationships. As I said before, you enter in for selfish reasons, you leave for selfish reasons, you do things for selfish reasons. But if you look at it like this, in a relationship, if you try this idea, right, and it might sound a bit crazy, I guess in this particular space, if you actually, you know, live to create something memorable, right, in the other person, and then maybe in return they'll do the same thing for you, then it can actually be something, enjoyable. You know, that's what I was talking about in the other pieces. Is what I create in the woman. You know, it's what I create in her, and what I'm creating in her is the love that I have for myself. That's one of the problems. A lot of guys do not know how to love themselves, let alone how to respect themselves. That's why they're like, yeah, 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 I'm a man, macho, booga, 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 and doing all this crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have his foot on his neck philosophy. Okay? You know, you could control things without yelling, control things without having your foot on a neck. Okay? See, women respect power. And maybe, well, if they try a little bit, they're more so trying to test out it to see if you are sure about who you are and you're sure about what you have. Are you comfortable in your authority, and are you fluid in your power? That's it. I know you're probably going to hear this in different spaces. People want to, you know, bastardize what I just said and just mess it all up. But it is what it is, man. I just had to put that out there. You know, and that's the difference between who made you versus who raised you. See, that their parents made them, but I raised them. You know, that's why you got to have the senior on my name. But that's just another conversation. I'm not going to get into that, right? But see, the focus is in creating an experience. The question is, what type of experience do you want to create? Are we in the Aquarian age? I believe that we might be in the Piscean age. And what is the Piscean age symbolic to when you think of fish, right? Fish represent live ideas that are fluid in the water, which is water symbolic to the state of consciousness, live ideas in the conscious, moving. Okay, so what does that have to do with this conversation? Well, let me explain this to you. It's the live ideas that you deposit into a woman about how, you know, she should treat you. Hmm? I mean, that's an idea. Is that what was that being? Did that sound, what misogynistic or chauvinistic or any of this shit? No, this just sounds like, the way it's supposed to sound. Keyword sound. It's not noise. Difference between sound and noise. See, everything, you know, comes under subjection by the sound. I don't have to yell at my dog. So I go sit over there. I don't have to yell at my nieces and nephews. I just look at them and say maybe one or two things. They'll be quiet. Or they'll stop running around, jumping on my couch, or playing with the crayons, trying to draw on the wall, whatever like that. You know, it's about harnessing that thing in you, right? Remember I said before, you know, women have the gift of intuition and emotion. Where it kind of got jaded is where, they were affected by the hits and it caused injury. So whereas though they're not as connected to their intuition with their emotions. See, if they connect their intuition with the emotion, just like if you connect your logic with the intuition, right? You could see things. But if you connect all three of them together, ooh, you have the triune effect. Getting to what I'm saying, they can basically tell who they're dealing with. Okay. They can tell if a boy is dealing with their emotions or if a man is dealing with their emotions. And the difference is one is basically riding the roller coaster and the other one's conducting the roller coaster. Do you get it? Is this mic on? But that's the way it is. You said beautiful ice, that's cold. Yeah, already, you know? They say they cold, man, but out there they be saying they cold, man, but they lukewarm. The chili, I'm trying to match make JT up with 12. I don't know what's going on with that. um, the next one, I would say not the next one, but I'm gonna have something to where as though we have, I'm gonna open up the panel and we all can have um a chat. Um, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I don't know if it's their time, if they're busy, they got things going on, because I usually have things going on. That's why I kind of just do it on a whim. You know, this is something that kind of just caught my attention. I was inspired by this, and you know, and as I posted in there earlier, to really learn something, truly learn something, you have to be able to, well, to well, actually, no, in order to teach something, you have to learn it more than twice. You know, going back and listening to it and just seeing the evolution and the growth. That was something that was old, but you see how timeless it is now. You know, see, true masculinity is timeless. True masculine expression is timeless. It's forever in the now. It's never changing. As I said before, you know, as I state as myself, I'm an absolute. That means there's no arc or development. There's no arc or development. The conversation is actually the same, right, from before. The reason why it's better now than it was before is because my audience got better. That's the difference. My audience got better. At first, it's like, man, you're like, well, what the fuck is he talking about? Because it's not really the typical talking points that you hear on here. Swallow this pill, and you got muscles, and you got 6-pack abs, and 6-minute abs, and you just get picking women out the trees, and you're just having it. Like, okay, listen to this video, and you become an alpha. Listen to this, and you become a sigma. Listen to this, you become a player, or you become a pimp, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? No, you listen to this, and you decide whoever you want to be after that. But guess what? This is a one-on-one, heart to heart, interview or conversation, like kind of like with one-on-one with Katie Couric. Like, this is up close and personal, me talking into you. Now everything is rhetorical. This is something to think about. But when you look at relationships, when you look at getting involved, right? Getting involved and then evolving in the involvement, gotta have awareness. A lot of people come into situations and just become completely oblivious what's messed up about it, and they expect someone else to carry their cross, carry their bondage. That's why it's important for you to be whole, to be a whole woman, to be a whole man, and not a piece of something, looking for something to fill that in, because it never works. Because then you got two broken people creating broken children, and then they come out. It's a repetitive cycle. It gets even worse. You know, it just perpetuates into something even more gruesome, dark, and just disgusting. It's what you have right now. People, they don't even have genders or some shit like that. Like, born, you don't have to put a gender in, or it's just, I don't really get into all that, but it's a lot of disgusting things out here that it just, because, you know, the astute man has been destroyed. The thinking man is gone. You know, no more happy days, no more simple times when things just make sense. Indeed, blessings. He said, "I'm back." Good deal, good deal. Yeah, I'm not going to be too long with this. I just this is an old piece I just put out here, and just decide, hey, look, I might as well just chime in, give my opinion on this. I might even do a revisit, on this, and just have an open talk about this. Just the signs. I call it science, was really the science. That's actually the correct way to spell science that I have up there. But this is the signs of relationships, science. But I definitely, I'm almost at the hour mark. Interesting. Now, people always talk about this mirror talk, but I believe when you listen to that, that's really someone has looked into that mirror, and someone has really looked into his reflection and made those adjustments. People will tell you, yeah, look in the mirror, change, self awareness, but they're not really showing you how to actually look into the mirror. They're not showing you how to actually become aware of who you are. They're not really showing you. They're just throwing out shit. Mirror talk, yeah, 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 gals, yeah, guy, yeah, mirror talk, mirror talk. But can't get in depth with it because there's no depth to them. You know, there is can't was it self improvement? You got to have self. Hold on, yeah, this it gets a little funny. I kind of figured out this little device, but you can't have self improvement without self awareness, and then self development from that awareness, right? Then it actually improves. These are the steps. But I've actually been talking about this in all of my content since the beginning. I just let other people run with things. Okay, you got it. You know, take a piece of my style, run with. Okay, you got it. But guess what? The blessing of that is that my DNA is throughout this space. You know, the message will live beyond me. You know. But anyways, that's just me just rambling on a little bit. You know, but life is about standing on your square as a man. What is standing on that square, right? You break that axis apart, it's a cross. It means bearing your cross, bearing your truth. That means denying the lower aspects of yourself and becoming your higher you, your God you, your energy, right? Energy. What kind of energy are you putting out there? What kind of energy are you putting out there, right? What is heartfelt masculinity? Hmm? Is your energy, your inner Jesus, heartfelt? Is your energy heartfelt? Hmm? Is it heart filled? Is it heart inspired? Hmm? True masculinity inspires. And there's a difference between motivation. Right? I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a man who's influential because I'm operating in my energy, spirit, ruach, fire. It burns the impurities. What's impure? All right, let me stop. you know, before you know, my chin starts to grow feet and start just rambling on. But anyways, blessings to y'all, and have a lovely evening, and whatnot. It's been fun. Welcome to all the new, welcome all the new subscribers, um, and, and and welcome to my day ones and ones in between. You know, this is an amazing experience and movement, and I'm really just you. Really, that's it. I'm really just representing you. I just have the microphone and I'm talking. You know. But anyways, have a lovely evening. I don't know. I might put up another retro one. I have a lot of stuff that's locked, and you might not hear my big mouth. I don't know, but yeah, that's up to y'all. Blessings.